bad thing for the entirety of society. You are setting back humanity with this content because it's absolutely horrific that you are allowed to put this on the internet, and that children like 12, 13, 14, and parents that have kids will watch this and think that it's okay because they're uneducated and they don't understand how absolutely stupid this content is. And dude, you're a fraud, and just stop. We're going to react to the final boss of functional training, and we're going to start right now. Okay, so we've looked at functional patterns. We've looked at some guys like Joel Seedman. We've looked at various different theories and institutions of functional training. But this is functional training on dumb steroids. This is the most ridiculous thing you will ever see in the history of your life. And we're going to go in, we're going to break it down. I'm going to try and be as sensible as possible. And we're going to see, is there anything that we can pull out of this? And what can we take away as we move forward in the strength industry? So we're going to be looking at a guy that goes by Bademba. Now, what I want to go into right off the bat, we're going to actually look at some of his training with an athlete. And I like to look at first, if we're training athletes, right, we should specifically be analyzing things if we're looking at sports performance. So when I've coached athletes to get to the Olympics twice, when I've coached at the Olympics in 21, when I went in 24, when we've had athletes go to the NFL, when we've had athletes, become professional level in 5, 6 different sports, world bronze medalists in freestyle wrestling, all these different athletes, right? What we try to do is we look at specific tests that are consistent in their sport. Okay, so if we're going to do that as a coach, we have to know what their sport entails. So we use our concept as sport depths, and we break that down, and then we can look at these tests, and then we can see these are tests that are indicators based off of performance of the athlete or from research or from sport coaches. In this case, we're going to look at a soccer player, Femke Prince. I don't know much about her. She might likely a very good human being, right? I'm just looking at this from the perspective of sports performance. And so what ends up happening is Bademba is, I guess, her strength coach or performance coach in some way. And so we can see there we're going to do a burpee into a wall thing, into some hops, into landing onto stability balls, into head balls, side things, jumps, and then we're back to the beginning with some more jump, and then back into this as a circuit type. And so initially what I'm looking at is, okay, so is this to increase her ability to have accuracy with a header? Is this to improve her endurance, her explosive endurance? When I'm trying to think through breaking down training, I'm looking at these things like, what is the adaptation that we're looking for? Is this the best way to do it? And then also, like, one of the big takeaways that I typically have is if I see, a lot of parents get conned by this, where they want to do like functional style stuff, and functional meaning like kicking a soccer ball or doing a header in while you're lifting weights, while you're doing jumps. If we had an American, it would be like catching the football after they would hit a power clean. And just because you're doing that doesn't mean it's actually functional. So, right, like I just want to clarify that. And so off the bat, I'm looking at this. Maybe it's some good cardio. I would never set up a circuit like this. It doesn't seem too outrageous. Like, it's pretty stupid, but like it's tolerable. Okay, I can roll with this. My biggest takeaway here for Femke, I would bring this up. Does she run a faster 20-meter sprint? Does she run a faster 5K by doing this style of training? Does she have a higher vert? Does she have a higher broad? Is her striking power better when she's kicking a ball? Those are legitimate tests that she could use as takeaways. And so that would be my first step. Okay, so that's like the first breakdown of this style of training. Now, when I'm looking at this video here, this is like, this chick's a freaking athlete. But there's some of this stuff that I'm looking at it from like a risk reward, like just going and replaying this again. I don't even understand what is going on with these things. Like, I don't get it. And I wanted to bring up some of the aspects of the stability ball landing. And this is going back to like 2004, 2005. My collegiate, so I was a shot putter at Penn State. I went to college to be a thrower. I trained with Anatoly Bondarchuk, who's an Olympic champion in the hammer throw. I was a shot putter. I had a training partner who got third at the 2008 Olympics. That's sort of my background, is sports performance in power sports. But I also train a lot of swimmers, a lot of wrestlers, so I have some endurance background as well. And one of my collegiate coaches had gone to, it was like a Perform Better seminar in like 2004. And there was a guy who was a big proponent of squatting on the Swiss balls, on the stability balls. And I remember my college coach being like, yo, this is crazy. We were in the middle of this presentation. This guy's like doing push-ups on the stability balls, and then he's squatting on the stability balls, and he jumped off of the stability ball. And when he actually jumped off, literally from exiting the ball, something happened with the way his knee was tracking based off of his ankle. And when he pushed off, he actually tore his ACL jumping off of the ball. And like, there's arguments to be made that like maybe your ankle can get into that position on the field, right? Or whatever it might be, but it's a risk reward. And like, I'm looking at this and I hope this right away, it's like, what's the risk? The risk is, somebody gets hurt. Somebody does something stupid here and does a header onto the stability ball or blows out their knee. What's the reward? You get more views on Instagram. You get more followers. Like, you get more likes. You get 5,700 likes from this. And this girl is an absolute savage that she's handling this. But it's like, we can't get conned by this. Like, what? So here we're looking at like, okay, like a knee jump to a stairmaster, to a stair step. And like some of these things, like Cossack squats, pogo hops, but what are these? Like, what if they release on the barbells and they eat the floor? For what? What's the point? What is the need to the pad to the row? Like, and this is actually Femke Prins again, the soccer player with Annie, another either Dutch or South African. I just have a lot of questions around what is the goal and why are we trying to do this? What are we seeing? And again, this goes back to the realm of sports performance, is like, are we seeing this crazy, crazy high level of performance from these athletes that would tell us like, yo, this is something that's next level. This is taking the training to the next level. Like, what we're watching right now is literally some of the absolute dumbest stuff I have ever seen. And again, handstand walks, fantastic. Box jumps, solid. Cleans, except she's not making contact. So I would try and get her to make more contact because she would use her glutes more on the contact. Catching a barbell and doing a front squat, why not just do like med ball throws or front squats and then box jumps and hurdle hops, goblet squats, cleans with contact, deadlifts? Like, I'm so utterly confused as to why we think that this is okay. And it's like, I wanted to go back to this was the first clip I'd ever seen from Bademba. And look, like this person here is squatting on bands. The way the ankles are being pushed out and the knees. And then this person holds an ISO here. Just tell me this. What if we got this chick to just do like, I don't know, like 4 sets of 5, and then you did like a drop set of 20 back squats? Like, what if you just did that? And then you're not risking the band. You're not risking her slipping, falling off, having the bar come down on her. And then she's doing this like stairy thing. And it's like, what is the point here? And then you got to unrack the bar by pushing it into the rack. For what? Like, do we really think like we couldn't have her do like single leg squats for like sets of 30? Like if the whole goal is to just crush somebody, let's just do that. If the whole goal is like stability, get them on the single leg. If we've got some ankle issues, like let's work some barefoot training or something in the warm-ups. Let's get on the PVC pipe to warm up, and you warm up on the PVC pipe, and then you do some traditional lifts. And I think like that's the big takeaway when I'm watching this stuff. I'm going like, I'm thinking through, we've got 7 athletes going to the world championships literally in 2 weeks. Like, and by the time this video comes out, we might already be in Tokyo, but I'm going to Tokyo in 2 weeks with 7 athletes in track and field, discus throwers, shot putters, men, women, right? These are some of the most explosive human beings on the planet, like 35, 40-inch verts, absolute powerhouses, like some of the most explosive humans to walk the planet. When we start to like peak and we start to get to a level of like we're trying to get big results from our athletes, we'll start to do things in training that will be like sports specific. So like side medicine ball throws, maybe like a crow hop into a side medicine ball throw, maybe like a half turn with a band. Like that might be the most sports specific thing that we do. The rest of the time we're still doing cleans and squats and snatches and benches and Clout push-ups, right? But where I'm going with this is like the more advanced you get, you've got to have a system laid out that to get to this super advanced level, that's when it might help to like have more nuance and more very, very dialed in exercises that really can bridge the gap. And this is the thing is like people will say like, you got to bridge the gap between the field and the weight room. But what you end up learning, and in my opinion, as athletes get better and better and better, is like, it's actually, you got to do your work on the field and then you got to do your work in the weight room. And that the field work helps bridge it. And there might be a couple movements that resemble what you're doing out on the field, or out on the court, or out on the pitch, or out in the pool, whatever it might be. But it really comes back to you just got to be really good at the fundamentals. So much so that, you know, inside Peak Strength, our strength training app, that you can click the first link in the bio, first link in the description, so that you aren't doing these exercises. The way we set it up is like to do a different movement, you've got to like earn and get to the next level. So we have 4 levels, and to get to level 2, you got to be able to front squat or clean or single leg squat or bench press or do a certain amount of pull-ups. Like you got to do the fundamental movements. You got to be able to jump. You got to be able to have a vertical. You got to have the sprint. You don't get to just do these exercises that are absolutely buffoonish. Like it's absolutely crazy. So, and the goal for what we're trying to put out is like, have a filter, have a lens that you can see. So like you're watching someone do a clean, jump sideways, do a front squat, and then watch this, they cut. Watch, they cut right there. Okay, so you see how they cut there. Here, I want to watch this again because I'm going to call this out. I think that this chick, this was just put out on August 2nd, and we're filming, what is this, August 11th. So she's throwing this. Now pay attention here. She turns, she jumps. Right here, they're about to cut. Okay, right there. I believe what happened is that she jumped over probably that second row and probably ate it because she was doing something stupid. She was doing something she shouldn't have been doing. And they cut that and they used another set from when she did a successful set. And so they're putting out this content. This has what, 2,100 likes. And the woman is clearly athletic. But is she athletic from doing this, or is she just a twitch factory, right? Like, is she already athletic? And then they're, you know, doing these things, and you're throwing a 5 to 10 kilo barbell at her that has probably another 2.5 kilos on each side. Like, what if that hits her in the face? What's the point of doing that? Why not just do front squats? Why not just do a box jump? Why not do some contrast training? What is the knee jump for? The land on the knees and then into a knee jump, then a side jump, catch, throw, side jump, catch, throw, turn, jump. And this is where, like, again, you see what's the throw over, and that's where you can see the cut. And I think stuff like that is like, we're literally doing this thing. Okay, and this is just stupid, dude. Come on, people, please. Why are we doing this? Why? Is it necessary? Is it necessary for us to be healthier, to do some banded squat, to do some exercise that is this, like, genuinely squat to a box and do sets of 20. If you really need to get blown up, do single leg squats, do walking lunges. Now, the big takeaway that I'm having is, like, we're still in this realm of people being conned, people being put into positions and used for things that don't matter. Because in 10 years, where's this dude going to be? Look at the Liver King, dude. Liver King lasted 4 years, 5 years. Where's, like, now he's a complete laughingstock. And you can even see other groups and entities that have come and gone, you know, functional patterns in and out. A lot of these people, it's like they do these things and it's like, where are you going to be in 10 years? And can you take someone from the moment they walk into your gym as an 8th grade kid, 7th grade kid, and can you get them on your system the whole way up? The whole way. And that's the challenge. It's like, not if you're doing stuff like this, because the risk reward here is absolutely insane. Watch this exercise. And I almost thought that this individual was doing like a form of malocclusion. I couldn't really tell. Meaning they were doing like Katsu style training. So like BFR training. I can't fully tell. But that was like another aspect that I was wondering, because it seems in my mind that here they have something attached around their left hip, and then they have the same thing around their right hip on the next set. And so I don't know if this is BFR. I don't know what that contraption is. But that's like another interesting point that I've been like, what is happening here? And is this also along that Seidman plan of like, this guy just is in a gym, there's random athletes here, but like look at this. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we doing, like, okay, and it's funny because you're like, all right, well, doing planks on a rower, like, that's not that bad. What is that? What was that? What was that? What is the point? You look like you're, what are we doing this for? And like, this girl's probably a pretty good soccer player. Like, is it necessary to do a punch on a stair stepper? Like, oh, we're going to do planks and knee slides on a rower. Like, yeah, I think doing a rower, like, this looks like you could just do a dumbbell bench. Shooting a rifle while getting hit in the abs with, like, we're going to hold a barbell like it's a rifle, swing kettlebells, and get hit in the abs with a med ball. So there's also someone else that's part of this. It's not just Bademba, it's somebody else. Somebody commented, which injury are you training for? Excellent satire. The best exercise is the first. It replicates advanced to contact semi-kneeling with two sloths swinging off your rifle whilst someone punches you in the gut. And why wouldn't you train that? It happens all the time. Wow. 20 sets of the zoomies. This is pretty funny. Okay, so here we have this dude's doing like a bouncing. So like this exercise. What if you did? So this is almost like a Pallof press, and you just hold a split position. I don't know. I'm really confused by all this, and I think it still comes back to the big breakdown here. Is, does this person Bademba really, like, what is the reason? What is the goal? What is the adaptation that we're looking for? But also, this isn't going to stop until the athletes are the ones that are like, yo, this is stupid. Yo, this is dumb. And so the athletes are also in on this. Because if I have athletes that are training with me and they're like, yo, Dane, when we did this drop dumbbell snatch, we did a drop dumbbell press with a band. Like, literally, it's the dumbest exercise I've ever had my athletes do. After about 3 weeks, they were all like, yo, this exercise is stupid. Can we stop doing it? We would drop a dumbbell, we would catch it, and we would punch with a band. And I was like, yo, if you guys really think it's that stupid, this is what I was thinking about it with. And they were like, yo, no, this is dumb. And so guess what? We never have done it ever again. And maybe this is a video we could do, is like, this is the dumbest exercise I've ever used. But the athletes here also have to come out. And even though you're sponsored by Gymshark or whatever it is, and they might be sending you some money, like, you can't be putting this stuff out to the world and think that this is okay. Like, a forward tummy roll into a backwards box jump into, you know, these things, and we'll do backwards box jumps. Like we do them to a low box, but a stability ball split stance into a throwing to an overhead. This is like this is literally functional on steroids, but like stupid steroids and stupid functional. And I think like when we're thinking through everything, what's the sport? What's the characteristics of the sport? What are the tests that show success in the sport? What are the results that we want to see to show improvement in the sport? What lifts correlate to better versions of the tests? What tests show better performance of the athlete? And then how do we train that consistently over 5 to 10 years? And if we're looking at 10 years of training, guess what happens? Okay, so pretty much like every athlete that we work with is minimum going to be here for 5 years. If we're training athletes like this, they're not going to be here for 5 years. They're not going to last. They're going to be hurt. There's not going to be any signs of progress. Like you're going to do the same wild exercises, same movements. You're never going to get to be really, really good at specific lifts that are fundamental. Your vertical's not going to go up. Your pull-up reps aren't going to go up. Your squat's not going to go up. Your 40's not going to go up, improve. Your 10's not going to improve. Nothing's going to get better. And so for me, the call out, 1, is to have the filter to look at this through. 2, understand what a system involves and how the system should work. And for us, again, this is like how we set up peak strength. It's how we set up our training. It's how we get these athletes to that level. Is like you got to start with the fundamental movements. And you've got to build upon the fundamental movements, and you've got to layer upon it year over year over year, and then have a system that they level up and they get new movements, and then they have to master those new movements. And they're not doing dumb shit like this because they won't be in the sport. They won't last. They won't become the greatest ever. They will just become shills on Instagram that are pawning some other person's financial gains off, and they're going to try to get more likes and more views and more shares so that the algorithm puts themselves out there, and for a brief moment of time, they can make more money because they're too incapable of being the absolute best. They're the only thing that they can do is they're capable of being freaking cons, and that's it. And that's the thing that pisses me off watching this stuff, is it's like, we've got to be better. Like, we have to be better as strength coaches. We have to be better. What is this? What's the purpose of this? You know what? And the thing is like, there's planning going in here. This is what we are going to wear. You know, this is we're going to use the blue plates to match your pants. And it's like cool stuff. And then this is the crazy hook. Like, yeah, good job. Like, what is this? Is this actual training? Like, actually the handstand on the treadmill might have been the first time I've been like, oh, that's not bad. Like, that's a good way to train if you have somebody struggling with that. Like, I don't know, man. What the fuck is this? Stop it. Why not just do jump lunges? Why not just do jump lunges? Why are you doing this? We just do knee jumps on the floor. Just do side to side jump step ups. What is this? Like, it's insane. So I've actually done side jumps like that, but not with the barbell. This person seems to have almost the same apparatus around their hips. So I think they have like some BFR or something going on there that they're trying to use. So that's another thing here is like, dude, if you don't do BFR properly, like, bad things can happen. So like, honestly, be careful with this stuff. Like, genuinely. I actually was trying to find, there was one video of someone doing like hanging leg raises, and I was looking at it thinking like, this is the most normal thing I've seen. Now, right there. This is literally the most normal thing I've seen right there, is hanging knee raises. That's the only thing I've seen so far that this guy's put out that's actually worth anything. And I think like the biggest improvement that I'm going to ask you guys for is look at individuals for what they're providing. Look for the adaptation. look for what the system means and what the system does and how it develops. Does it develop people? Does it get people to, the next level, to the next level, to the next level, to the professional level? Does that happen? Does it get people who are, older to stay in shape and improve and be healthy? Because if it does, then we're looking at something good. And look through that lens. These charlatans should not exist anymore with the internet. Like, dude, we're not the boomer generation. We're better than that. And this shit shouldn't be freaking out there. And so that's my big call out. I'm calling out Bademba. I don't think I think you're genuinely doing a bad job and a bad thing for the entirety of society. Like, I actually think you are setting back humanity with this content, and you need to be called out for it, because it's absolutely horrific that you are allowed to put this on the internet, and that people and that children like 12, 13, 14, and parents that have kids will watch this and think that it's okay, because they're uneducated and they don't understand how absolutely stupid this content is. And dude, you're a fraud, and just stop. Grow up. Like, absolutely grow up. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you don't ever train with any of this shit. And call me out for anything stupid that you think, and we'll try to justify it. Or guess what? We'll do a video on the dumbest exercises that I've ever used in training. Maybe comment down below if you want us to do that. Head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Pick up our strength training app, where you're going to use fundamental lifts to get you to the next level. We're going to teach you how to sprint, how to do jumps, how to lift properly, how to do the main movements, so that you can become an absolute savage and meet these athletes out on the field and absolutely curb stomp them, so that you can become a champion. That might be a little much, because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.